Vigilance officer? What can this old carabiner do for you? There's nothing for you to understand here. It is not her death you are investigating. Absolutely not. She died of pneumonia in her bed at the age of 79. This is highly usual. Revival Fair of 91 in the Faubourg district. A parade was held to honor Guillaume Le Lion's name day, and the Carabineers marched in the place of honor. This was the happiest day of my life. I was 22 when I returned from King Guillaume's Akira operation in the south, and found my sweetheart in the arms of this wretch.
The Akira operation was a 7-year campaign, during which suzerain Guillaume's army forcefully united the people in the southeastern part of La Petite Continent, collectively known as the Akira tribes, under the Revacholian banner.
I won her back, but while I was dealing with some issues.
You were like a dark cloud sucking the joy out of every living thing around you. And you hurt her.
Dark cloud. That sounds unpleasantly familiar.
Those days and memories are gone.
The old soldier says nothing, but when his glance quickly runs over Gaston's face, there's an odd look in his eyes. The lieutenant flashes you a quick side glance. His posture tenses. What are you up to now?
What?
He thinks you're playing a joke on him.
Now, I'm sure the officer means it figuratively. Like a forensic technique or something, right?
Bon sang, son. You must have a loose screw up there or something. Sounds like you really mean it. All right. I will entertain this fantasy if you tell me what interest does an RCM officer have in time travel.
Oh, you're in for a treat, officer. Seeing the playful side of old René is about as rare as a red rainbow.
Not actually that rare. It's just that red or monochrome rainbows usually occur at sunrise or sunset, when blue and green wavelengths are scattered before reaching water droplets. Fewer eyes to see them then.
It's always about love, isn't it? But it's never only about love. So what else, officer?
The lieutenant rubs his forehead and mumbles something under his breath.
Even after the revolution, after the beachhead, there was a chance. Had we just stayed true to our values. It happened slowly, like a seedling growing into a tree. Tiny incremental steps. Imperceptible till the ticket was so thick you couldn't clear it with a flamethrower. This time? What happened to the first time? Did you make a mistake? Did you fuck up? Everyone did. And there are no second chances. We don't deserve them. You can't just go back and restart. That would make everything meaningless.
There's something substantial moving in him, trying to get out. Regret. Him. There's tenderness in the Carabineer's look. Tenderness that's curdled into pain or something darker. Even worse, a love aborted and smothered, stamped beneath his brilliant boot heel. You catch the old Carabineer's gaze, slowly leaving his opponent's wrinkled face as his dark eyes meet yours. Whatever turmoil raged in him a moment ago is quelled for now. Willed back into the darkest unexplored depths of his mind, never meant to be shared, seen, or confronted. A true master of his emotions.
Our lives are unique, and I have neither the means nor the will to help you change that. But I will gladly assist you with police matters.
The Carabinier is too old and feeble to be useful. But you will carry on. Mouvere tempore, Kingsman. For the tenacious, no road is impassable. The old Carabinier looks at you with weary expectation. The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito, bullet holes, and an RCM sticker. You drop the white envelope in the darkness. It lands with a soft thud on what sounds like a couple of letters. About a week's worth of mail as collected in there. They'll empty this very soon. Probably did the right thing. You can't trust that slug Everard. You know he's going to play you somehow.
All right, let's go back to Everard. If we don't mention anything to him, he won't know before it's too late.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull...
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? One moment. Can you please describe the body? Age, sex, cause of death?
We suspect he might have been inebriated when he fell. There were bottles all around him, and traces of vomit on his shirt.
Any signs of violence? No field autopsy necessary.
You can hear her quickly typing in the background.
What about his belongings? Did you examine his clothes? Any information on the library card? Good. You have a lead. Do you and Lieutenant Kitsuragi want to take the case, or should I assign it to someone else? I have assigned the case to Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi. Please follow up on this library lead to identify the man. We'll send someone to take the body to the morgue. That's all for now. Thank you for reporting in. Is there anything else I can do for you? Hold on, officer. I've got Central Jamrock Public Library on the line, and I've already introduced you to their librarian. Connecting the call in 2, 1.
Yes, this is Central Jamrock Public Library here. How can I help you, officer?
He sounds worried, yet ready to assist. This is how people get when the police call.
Billy Majon, you said. Give me a moment, I'll have to check our database.
On Moreau Drive in central Jamrock, in a darkened hall lit by orange desk lamps far away from the noise outside, a middle-aged man taps commands into an old radio computer. A printout falls on the desk. Behind him, a lonely reader scours some dusty bookshelves, looking for a paperback.
Yes, hello, are you still there? I found Billy Majon's home address, is that alright? No phone number, unfortunately.
They're too poor to have a phone line.
Here we go, sir. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33B, apartment number 20. It's in Martinez, I believe. Capeside Apartments, it says. That's all.
That's where the smoker on the balcony lives, isn't it?
It says here that they returned their last book just a few days ago, but I wasn't at work that day. Marie? Marie? Do you remember a reader named Billy Majon? They returned a Tybalt book the other day. Yes, it was my colleague Marie. She said that it was Billy's husband who returned the book. He also asked for this new sci-fi release, Lowe's Radio City 87, but we don't have it yet.
Good. You have a name now.
Marie knows Billy. She's been working here longer than me. Sometimes her husband returns some books for her.
and then goes for a little drink later, on the lookout.
Sorry, no. Marie only knows him by sight. Marie? She said it was an older man, and that she's pretty sure he'd had a drink or two the last time she saw him. 1 second. Sorry, Marie wasn't really paying any attention to that. Happy we could help. Goodbye, officer.
Anything else you need from me? 57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you
Looking for something, Hunt? Come to tell me to fuck off again?
Again? And him? You've got to be kidding me.
Let's get one thing straight. You can't tell a man to fuck off and then say he's your brother. It doesn't work like that. Now, what makes you think I know how to turn back time? Your gut, huh?
He's confused now, off his balance. He's looking for signs of deceit.
Are you mocking me right now, Runt? People think it's so easy being a lorry driver. Well, it isn't, okay?
The rumbling in your stomach says there's something not quite right with this one.
You know, I get funny looks from people all the time. I know they're looking at my gut. I can see that. Big fucking deal. A guy put on a little weight. Who cares?
Alert. We detect major body image disturbance. He's really got himself worked up now. Dangerous stores of pent-up emotion there. He grinds a cigarette butt into the pavement and quickly lights another. In reality, there is no culture war, but there is a struggle for mating privileges. Always has been. And this man is outgunned and completely ill-equipped for this conflict. This really isn't about you right now. It starts with the genetic lottery. A few are born handsome, imposing giants, while most, like this guy, are just average. The less fortunate have an underdeveloped limb, a sense missing, or worse. Only the most average survive extinction-level events. That's a known fact. But there's a lot one can do with average, and this guy hasn't. Now past his prime, it's unlikely he ever will. While others dominate the killing fields, he will sink to the bottom of the mating pool. It's his defeatist, self-pitying mentality, a sense that the world owes him a mate because he perceives himself to be a good guy. He isn't interested in evolving, improving, or working for it. He thinks by just being, he is entitled to love and respect. But the truth is, there's 100 million men like him competing for every single female out there. And his attitude virtually guarantees he'll never come out on top. It's a vicious cycle he's unlikely to ever break. The lack of female affection makes him bitter. His bitterness, in turn, reduces his chances of gaining that affection. Easily. How do you know it already hasn't? That's how he played the hand he was dealt. At least he's blissfully ignorant to the cyclical nature of his situation. We know.
You still with us, Runt? Or are you just gonna stand around like a glue sniffer? That old song.
You're not the first person to point this out to him, with similar results.
People today, they only look at what's on the surface. These women, they all want a guy who looks like Kipty the Kipt over there. They don't care if you're a good guy. They're superficial creatures. That's just the truth. I'll believe it when I see it. Whatever, I don't care. It's all the same to me.
It's not. It's really not.
Time, yeah? Listen, man. Do you even understand how hard we've got it? How completely stacked the whole rotten deck is against people like you and me?
He's not listening at all, just circling the drain. The lorryman looks at you like he can't decide whether he wants to smash something or break down in tears. The silence is heavy and uncomfortable.
No, I can't help you. And I'll tell you why. 'Cause you're a runt and an asshole.
And he's back to his charming old self. The lieutenant doesn't utter a word, but his face says, "I told you so." This fool is a colossal waste of time. There's no Kingsman inside him, just self-loathing and entitlement. Let's keep searching.
Do not presume this has drastically altered our race dynamic. True, I said nothing about our personal dynamic. That has altered. A little.
He means very little.
God damn it. It's becoming a thing now, huh? No, I cannot. Just make it quick, please.
You want to return to the past? You don't have it in you. Be grateful for that. Your need to steer every conversation towards your own persona is a sign of low self-esteem.
Stop boring, Measurehead. He talks about big things and you only talk about yourself.
Anything is possible, just not for you. You bested me in a violent physical confrontation. True, but I don't owe you an intellectual one.
He just needs some convincing before you can talk to him mano a mano.
Your race descent has temporarily halted, but you will fall again.
Simple. Just humiliate him in front of his entourage until he has to beg you in private to stop. Then you can let him know it was all but a clever ploy to separate him from his babes.
Look, his ravished brain is stuck between an imaginary world and ours. It's all fusing together. Soon he can't tell the difference.
You are a growth in the groin area. Low-value man.
It saddens even me. The rule is a cruel master. Your race descent has temporarily halted, but you will.
Simple. Just humiliate him in front of his entourage until he has to beg you in private to stop. Then you can let him know.
Babe, look. Scorched biomass is all that the whole left of his brain. Soon he will devolve into an androgynous bipedal, able to perform only the most instinctual of functions.
What functions will he be able to perform, Measurehead?
Ingest and defecate, like an overweight amoeba.
Hear that? Like a fat amoeba. You can't even fuck. Pathetic.
Here's a lady who clearly puts a man's cockmanship above all other qualities.
Your race descent has temporarily halted, but you will fall again.
Simple. Just humiliate him in front of his entourage until he has to beg you in private to stop.
No. In fact, visual expression of individuality is something we always perceive differently. It's a generational chasm.
Doesn't look like he's humiliated or about to beg.
Measurehead's his own man. Doesn't give a fuck what anyone thinks.
Your attempt to psychologically manipulate me has failed. It's time you return to your menial matters. Racists are generally not very good examples of their race.
Welcome to Revachol. You hear him yell at a redhead woman visiting a fritter nearby. He must think redheads are immigrants.
I am not like them. I am craniometric perfection. I have taken the trouble to permanently draw a phrenologic grid on my skull and features. This should dispel any doubt.
True, that is a noble cranium, but you got a hard noggin yourself. The drawings are precise and look true to their pseudo-scientific ambitions. One thing, however, it is not entirely free of throwbacks in the phylogenetic tree. His large jaw, for example, could be a trait indicative of criminalism. Also, his earlobes could be small.
That atavistic stigmata makes pussy say yes, plenty.
Babe, thanks. But I got this.
You have him off guard now. He's preoccupied with his situation with his woman.
I am not the first line of defense. I am the last. In addition, these so-called Hardy Boys are an effeminate clique of bodybuilders. Their company is spiritually degrading.
You pick up on something artificial in his tone, like he's putting on an act. This is unlike him. he is usually more himself.
Fine. They have recently fallen under the influence of a possibly sexually perverted female vagrant and a narcotics peddler. It's shameful. Find out for yourself, endomorphic blob.
Interesting.
Don't be vulgar. White or not has got little to do with this. The race enigma runs much deeper than that.
There must be some friction there. He's keeping it well hidden, however.
Mr. Clare is a man of vision and means. He has the will to confront international capital. Something your race, naivistic communists, never did. Also, to serve is noble. It takes discipline. Your petulant individualism has only contributed to your race failure. It is lax and moronic. Idiotic communism is the single greatest contributor to your race descent. Everywhere around you, the fruits of its failure to challenge the world order. Individualism, rock and roll music, sexually transmitted diseases. Above all, rampant multinational finance still reigning large. Tell me, where have you gotten your love of pathetic communism from? Degenerate youth culture? Rock and roll music? Offshoots of the Semenese people invented disco while having sex under the influence of cocaine. It is a shame upon my race. But what is done is done. I am not surprised you enjoy it so much. This has happened to many of the side products of the inevitable cultural victory of the Semenese race. The South Island race, haplogroup A4A. We are the rightful masters of the Insulindian archipelago. We descend from the Areopagites of ancient Pericarnassus and arrived here 4,000 years ago, millennia before you. We are the future. That is all you need to know. I am a descendant. The narrow streets of Ulimbuir are with me in my genetic dreams. I see young Semenese women walk into the grey mass on Ile de Fantôme, waiting on immaculate conception from the pale. No, I have heard about it on the radio.
He would be appreciative if you did not further chase this line of inquiry in front of the women.
I'm from Couronne, and no, it is not just in Revachol. The city is central to the Semenese strategy. Spreading through its trade networks, our culture will dominate the world. You have heard enough about our phylogenetic secrets for today. You have extinction to come to terms with. Think upon it.
I think this racist is better than the last, but the next racist will be the really good one.
That will be the...
He will grant us 3 wishes.
Your pedomorphic friend has quick wits. A protruding occiput and an indented zygomatic bone.
The lieutenant does not flinch.
You should keep him close. The congenital defect of farsightedness does not render him a complete invalid. He still has the use of his mind. Your race descent has temporarily halted, but you will fall again.
It's obvious you need to steer the conversation to the topic that interests him the most. Something that he'd like to discuss with another man, in private. Other than race science, what else do you think he's into? Tattoos? Yes, but even more importantly, women. This specimen has surrounded himself not only with one or two, but 3 stellar babes. What's more, all these girls seem to be koikos. What's up with that? You have to find out what's his deal with Grad.
Personal?
What is he talking about, Jean?
You mean the babes? Huh, I see. Perhaps we should talk in private. Come with me.
What about the lieutenant? What about the case? You don't have time for this. At least not right now. Maybe later.
To the deepest caverns beneath La Royaume, where eyeless creatures, ignorant of light and warmth, lurk and slither.
Wait, is this a joke?
Don't panic, ham sandwich. That was a joke. We're going to my mother's office.
Don't worry, it's not a trap. Everyone can see you go in there together. You'll be fine. Even if he tries anything, you can just slip out of his reach like an eel.
A median amount of time.
You go ahead and have your talk. I need a few things from Fritz anyways. We'll catch up later.
Women, racism, turning back time. It couldn't interest him less.
No, really. We are not joined by the hip. You want to talk about women with him, and I want to do pretty much anything else. Don't let me hold you back.
We can talk without the pedo off. It's me and you this time. I am not going anywhere, and neither is my mother's office.
All right, let's do this before anyone changes their mind.
This way, processed meat man.
We're gonna miss you, Jean.
The lieutenant nods, ready to spend some time on his own. He couldn't be happier to get out of this conversation.
Don't worry, babe. This won't take long. So, women, huh?
Strange. He seems different in here. Less monolithic, somehow. The room feels soporific in its silence. Dust particles twirling around in the air.
Women. And? That's what you wanted to talk about? What is this really about? I can barely hear your words through the voice of Al-Ghul, but it speaks truth. Men only want to reverse time for one reason: love. They say it's about honor, justice, revenge, regret, redemption, and a plethora of false reasons. But further back, deeper in, it is always love that drives them.
Renee certainly seemed to agree with that. No. Gary seems way too scientific to get involved in some messy love conundrum.
I'm going to do you a kindness, Poopa. I'm going to share a secret with you. Here is the secret. There is no love in the past, only the present. The past is made of static images, distorted memories, demented nostalgia. This, the present, with all its possibilities, innumerable hits and misses, is far superior. It is a living organism.
Maybe, if you inquire more about the present, you'll figure out the secret of returning to the past. What about all the women that surround him? Is the love extended for them as well? There's something else you need to clear up with him, man to man. Why you knocked him out.
Look around you. Look at the advancements in the sexual sciences. All the novel techniques, accessories, preservatives, massage oils, lubrication salves, abortion clinics. And the women who shave and are capable of understanding concepts like polyamory and coitus casualis. The Khoikhoi and their promiscuity are at the forefront of all that.
Novel techniques? Your techniques were probably last novel during the Franco-Nigerian times. You need those techniques, Bratan, to survive.
Who cares about sexual partners and their promiscuity when you've got the fate and honor of Revachol on your shoulders? But promiscuity leads to drama.
You're asking me to share the sacred techniques that I've gathered and internalized on my life journey with you, a stranger?
Watch out. He's getting defensive.
Do not think the serenity of my mother's office makes me forget we are biological competitors, albeit unevenly matched. You are more likely to get the Coalition to sign over their warships than get these weapons of pleasure and control out of me. This knowledge never passes from a man to another man, not even from a father to his son. This path is to be taken in absolute solitude. Desperation, wishful thinking, confusion. No woman wants to create a lasting psychosexual bond with a man enthralled to his biological impulses. You have to shed this infantile shell if you ever wish to find a worthy mate.
Everything's revolving around women and sex with this guy. What's that about?
You are trying to insinuate something. This impotent psychological manipulation does not work on me. Speak up, Poopa. Your mind is unable to capture the nuances of this particular situation. It exceeds the limits of your emotional intelligence and your genetic imagination. Do not even try. Poopa, I belong to the SRS. And voluntary offspring production, chimeric or regular, is not an issue for me.
SRS seems to be missing from your records. Semenese race scientists, street racing syndicate. Is it some kind of performance enhancement supplement?
The Semen Retention Society. It does not surprise me that you know nothing about it. Masturbateurs Anonymous is probably an organization you're more familiar with. The SRS is a closed group of strong-willed individuals who have dedicated themselves to building up strategic semen reserves. It takes iron will and razor-sharp focus, far beyond your spiritual potential.
An enormous expenditure of willpower to build up strategic semen reserves. You had me at willpower. Let's do it.
This is an oversimplification, but yes. It's nothing to be proud of, Pupa. Hysterical masturbation is but one of the many illnesses of Occidental civilization. We are life. Life is sexuality. Sexuality in competition with sexuality. The sexuality of other organisms. The point of any competition is to win. The future. In a biological sense, the man whose essence, whose genetic blueprint is passed on to the most hosts, down to the most generations, fulfills his biological purpose to the greatest extent. This is the love victory.
What about the Semen Retention Society? He's right. Everything's a contest, and only the shiftiest competitors win.
Semen Retention Society. I told you, this is a simplification. Climax is not required for victory. In fact, it is discouraged. A true man retains his essence. It is far more masculine to pass on a blueprint of your mind and your spirit than your flesh. Women give birth to flesh, and men give birth to spirit. Spirit is immortal.
He has a point. While an idea is born potentially immortal, flesh is always doomed to die. Spirit is housed in flesh. No one cares about your fancy ideas if you're getting beaten up behind a bar.
Spoken like a man defeated by love, unable to face the harsh realities of nature. We are sky, butterflies, rhododendrons, rhinos, nature against nature. Love takes courage, courage to fight. This defeatist talk of cooperation is why you have no future. It is also why you have no love.
That's not true. You have the love of your mother. Or do you? Maybe even the love of your friends and colleagues. Who needs love if you can wield fear? You have cold, hard facts to protect you from heartbreak. And that is enough.
This is no time for vague generalities. There is something else on your mind. Ask the question you intended to ask, or face your cowardice.
No, this is a trap. He will say or do something horrible if you go down this path. Time to get personal. He's finally ready to open up to you.
The only man worth being called a man, Father Jairzino.
Father Iazinho. Sounds like some kind of mystic. or a magician?
No. A welder.
An honest job for an honest man.
Father Jair Zeno made me hard, where my mother made me soft. Together, they made me complete. Father Jair Zeno was very wise. He realized that if the tender touch of my mother wasn't opposed, I would turn into a complete pussy. So he did what a man must. He became a counterweight of iron through scarcity, ascesis, discipline, and respectful distance every father should have for his son.
Smells like physical violence. Just like with Kuno and his dad. Hopefully, he at least taught his son some welding.
Yes. I inherited my genetic makeup from Father Jair Zeno. I am an evolution of him. He is immortalized in my essence, even after his physical body expires.
A lot of seaman talk going around, but no one blowing any loads. This party's winding down, Bratan.
Because Father Jair Zeno is my father, and his name is Jair Zeno.
His father taught him respect.
The stereotypical worries of a traumatized social worker. The reality does not correspond to your personal trauma. And if it did, I would welcome it. A good fight with Father Jair Zeno would be a great honor. You don't have to remember. You are like a dog with its tail between its legs. It is visible to all. It is visible to women. And the reason why you haven't found a worthy mate, or why the worthy mate was stolen from you.
Strange. There are no memories of that recorded anywhere in your body. He's making it up. He's making it up to gain an unfair advantage over you in sexual and possibly financial competition. Slip out of his reach. It's more likely that your father wasn't even around to beat you. It wasn't your father who beat you. It was the world.
This is a weakness I can empathize with. You have my pity. Take solace in it. No, I am not interested in welding. I am merely offering a small glimpse of functional family dynamics. Something you were clearly deprived of. No, he does not. But it doesn't matter. I shouldn't care, and I don't, what he thinks. I am myself, not him. This is how he taught me.
Intellectual independence. Definitely something worth celebrating.
Yes, I have always liked this place. It is my favorite. When I was a kid, I used to come here and wait for my mother to finish her work. Great times were had here, filling in the great coloring book of the Semen and flora and fauna, the carrion flowers and the monotremes, the mangrove forests and the megabats. And the couch. The couch is very comfortable, even though it is very small. There is no couch like this one.
The couch does look very cozy. He's right about that.
No. Yes. She did, yes. With great honors. The greatest, some say. A true modern ritual. The entire organization attended when she was given the honorary engraved paperweight. It was a tender day.
There should be something here. A memory, a feeling, even if it's just a glimpse. But the depths of your psyche remain silent. You don't have a single memory of your mother.
I am not surprised. You are like the runt of the litter, abandoned, incapable of nurturing a woman's love. Our mothers are the ones who teach us to receive affection from the opposite sex. A bond you have clearly not experienced. Instead, you have developed this unhealthy obsession with the past, standing before me hoping to turn back time. This is not the answer. Reinvent yourself from defeat. Don't apologize. My women liked it. It is important to appear vulnerable sometimes. Vulnerability nurtures emotional contact. Emotional contact amplifies the ecstasies of sex. Like ivy, we are intertwined, weak and strong, man and woman, mother and child. Clearly, it is impossible for you to shed your neurotic obsession. This wailing for the past is a task unfit for men. It is better left for widows mourning their husbands, and for mentally ill communists mourning their commune. If you want advice on babes, or the mysteries of life, or even on Revachol, look forward. To escape your defeated state, you need to move forward, on to future victories. It seems to me you are in need of a warning. Here it is. It is absolutely possible to return to the past. You just need to take a ticket to Seregli Island, the southernmost of the Semen archipelago, also known as Ile de Fantôme, and walk into Pale. Let it dither and rot your mind. Then you can marinate forever in your irreversible defeat, while race enemies laugh at your motionless, gap-mouthed corpse.
No, this does not sound inviting. Where would you even get a ticket? You can't just pack your bags and leave. Finally, a chance to connect with the divine. It gets very cold in the office, like in a desert after the nightfall.
There is no catch. You will get what you want. The rule is a cruel master, but it is not Pale. Pale takes your mind and rejects the flesh. It is capricious and terrifying, like a virgin. You will lose your courage before her face. Go have a look. The white-haired protein mass at the intersection. A lorry driver. Impossible to miss her if you're even a half-decent cop. An empty vessel the mind has deserted. A husk no longer inhabited by the consciousness. Biological waste.
Ah yes, protein mass. A scientific term from Grad for a person terminally overexposed to the pale. Mouth open, catatonic, completely unable to return to the present. This goes far beyond your conceptual reach. Beyond the conceptual reach of anyone, really. A chill races down your spine.
And yet you're still obsessed with turning back time? After you've seen what it does to a man? A piece of advice? Stop fighting time and face the real antagonist. Face yourself, Poopa. It's a showdown every man must go through. We are done here. And remember, What happens in my mother's office stays in my mother's office. Quiet contemplation ends, biological rivalry resumes.